welcome to Heirs and Spares, the show that dives into the fascinating world of two of the most recognized royal couples from both sides of the Atlantic. I'm Kinsey Schofield, and Matt Wilkinson, royal editor and host of The Sun's Royal Exclusive, a very popular program, is here to help us unpack the latest with the former Fab Four. There is no bigger story right now, Matt, than the California fires. First of all, I'd ask, is anybody that you know okay? Do you know anybody that's involved? Is everyone okay that you know? And second of all, I'd want to know your reaction to Harry and Meghan's presence.
We're following what's going on in Los Angeles very closely here. It's been front page news for several days, and look, it's horrendous. My thoughts genuinely do go out. I don't have any friends or family out there, so but I've been there. And some of the pictures that I've seen, I've been down those streets, and I've just looks apocalyptic, and I can't imagine what people are going through out there. With Harry and Meghan, look, I've seen the fact that they've gone to Pasadena, and I've seen the fact that they've gone to this site, and that they've appeared, and it's caused a bit of a stink, I think, out there. I'll probably be led by you, to be honest, Kinsey, to find out what the reaction is for people in California as to how they reacted to seeing them there. But I do think that they are damned if they do, damned if they don't. I mean, if they didn't go, would people say that, well, you're now living in California, that's where your life is, that you should be there? So I've seen them, I've seen the footage of them going, but this is a kind of a theme that I may be veering onto over the next couple of weeks and months. That Harry and Meghan's life in California, it doesn't really feel like a royal story anymore. It feels like a California story. It's your problem now, Kinsey. They're your problem now at the moment. They're less of our problem. So that there hasn't really been that much of a stink over here to seeing them visit, because we kind of think, well, is it actually quite a nice thing for them to do, to go and help? I have seen criticism of people saying it's a photo op, but it clearly is a photo op, and I say it's clearly a photo op because the thing that gives it away is maybe the caps. I think we saw an LA Dodgers cap and a Cali cap, and it made me think that, well, they deliberately put those on because they knew that they might get pictured. But I don't know the ins and outs as to, if the press have been tipped off beforehand or not. I'm afraid it is a little bit distant for me.
All right, I want to ask you about the authenticity issue. Harry's authenticity, sincerity, really, in my personal opinion, and please correct me if I'm wrong, had never been questioned until he entered into a relationship with Meghan Markle. There's a story trending out here about Harry and Meghan walking around Pasadena handing out sandwiches and coffees, and one elderly man said to Harry and Meghan, apparently he didn't know who they were, I don't really want a sandwich, I want a donut. And Prince Harry said, well, we don't have donuts, but give me 1 second. And he disappeared for 10 minutes and returned with a donut. And the old man said something like, thank you so much. If you were ever running for anything, I'd vote for you. Like nice, planted story there, according to me. But to me, I thought that is the old Harry. That is sincere. That is the old Harry. That's the Harry that I loved when I was growing up. Do you feel like there is concern about, or there is question surrounding Harry's authenticity when he is with Meghan? And is that why we're seeing them do so much separately now? We talked about the professional separation last year. Do you feel like there is a question about his authenticity when he's with his wife?
Oh, possibly. I mean, I do think Harry is authentic. When you see him working, I think he's good at this. Okay, he is quite a genuine guy, and I think attending something like this, he's done this before. He's been to these kind of occasions, and he knows the way to act. He knows what works. He knows what doesn't work. He is genuinely, he genuinely does care, and he gets stuff in. I'm not questioning whether Harry and Meghan care about California, by the way. I generally think they do care about the fires in Los Angeles. But yeah, we don't really trust them, do we? This is the issue. So many times in the past, we felt let down by them, or we've questioned whether they are genuine and authentic. We spoke about, well, I spoke about several times. I think we spoke about the fact that they have this professional separation because they succeed better separately, I believe. I think Harry's very good at it. I don't think Meghan is very good at it. When we go to the Invictus Games, and it'll be happening in a couple of weeks' time, Harry will be very, very good, very, very professional. Meghan will not be particularly good at it. She's just not good at this kind of stuff. And whether it's just her personality, it's just the way that she is, or whether it's she lacks authenticity, I don't know. But I think it works for Harry to work away from his wife. Personally, I think he works so much better. And I think this is the first time that we've seen them together for 6 months. I think you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's the first time we've seen them together since Columbia. And we haven't really
Oh,
had any kind of.
It was Tyler Perry's birthday party is the last time we saw them.
We saw them
So
in the back of a car. Is that
yeah.
right? Yeah. So this is the first time we've kind of seen them actually walking around, speaking, holding hands, or interacting. It's the first time that we've actually seen them, together for about 6 months. And I think that's why people are looking at them and questioning, is this authentic? But look, I'm not just a Harry fanboy or anything like that. I'm just
No, you're
saying that.
not. I will vouch for you. You are critical when it's time to be critical. I will vouch for you there.
Yeah, but he's good at stuff like this. And honestly, Meghan is probably less good at things like this.
But, I think so much about, I saw while watching some programs in your neck of the woods, comparisons to the Prince and Princess of Wales, how they sometimes show up in support in similar fashion. And then I also saw some attempted comparisons at Princess Diana. First of all, a lot of people in the States are saying Harry and Meghan are not royals. That role does not belong to them here. Why are they getting private tours from the mayor of Pasadena through someone else's devastation? Should the mayor's attention be somewhere else, which I think is a valid point, considering the fact that we had so many governmental failures throughout the last week when it came to our wildfires. But I also would argue, and I'd like your opinion, I think one of the things that makes Catherine and Diana come off so genuine is the fact that they do a lot of things under the radar. Diana's sitting in hospices between midnight and 5 a.m. where the paps weren't going to catch her, is why we fell in love with her. I think the problem we have with Meghan is that they're conveniently positioned in front of the Fox 11 cameras. Had we seen on social media, maybe another volunteer casually snapping them, it comes off way more authentic to us than CBS standing in front of Meghan Markle distributing food. And maybe that's a harsh criticism, but from a PR perspective, I wonder if Meghan does not come off as Catherine and Diana, because it does feel so in your face sometimes. Look at me doing good.
Yeah, no, it's a hugely valid point, and I think it's because of the history that we've shared with the couple over the recent years, where we don't particularly believe them. There is a kind of lack of trust. We do think they may be being disingenuous. So when they do actually go out and do good, we start questioning their motives, or questioning, are they really doing this for the good, or are they really doing this just for photo op to as you say, appear in front of Fox cameras. And I think they were called a princess as well. I need to pick that
Yeah,
up with them.
Princess
I think she
Markle.
was called a
Princess
Princess
Markle. Yeah.
Markle. Okay, she's not a princess, okay? And this is the issue. This has always been the issue since Megxit. Like 5 years ago, we've had Megxit, and it's always been the issue. Who are they representing? Okay, they're not representing the UK. They're not representing the royal family. They are representing their own interests, which is different to Diana or Catherine or William, who are representing, the royal family and representing the UK and representing those kind of causes. So what are they representing if they're representing themselves? Well, if they're in California and they've got friends in California and family in California, then surely they're representing them. So if they pop down to this centre and volunteer and help out, then fine. That's what they're doing. I find it really difficult to kind of criticize them, but I can understand that the optics are difficult because over the years there's been so many missteps, so many mistakes. We've questioned their motives so many times that they're just trying to sell, they're just trying to they're trying to sell stories so they can get onto Netflix, or sell stuff to get them to get exposure and to get money. That we look at them maybe doing something good and then say, well, of course they're up to no good. Of course they've invited the cameras down. Of course they've just, done it for a photo opportunity. And that's the problem. They've dug themselves into this hole where we are sitting here questioning their motives. We don't do it to William and Catherine because we don't have that history. We don't have the history of everything that's gone past in the last 5 years with the British Royals.
Well, it did not help that Meghan had a brand new, according to some, make or break Netflix series premiering days later.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on her moving that to March 4th? I applaud it. I think that is, thank you for reading the room.
Yeah, I mean, we are led to believe, aren't we, that Meghan had asked for it. So I think that she'd actually made the request, which does show that, that she's not cloth-eared and she does understand what's going on. I was worried in the last couple of days that even if Meghan had asked for it to be moved, that Netflix, because they're big paymasters, would have said no, and that would have been a really difficult situation for the Sussexes because it would have meant that they are basically beholden to, big TV companies. They're beholden to the people that actually give them the money, and they don't have the power. So I like the idea that Meghan has, as we're told, asked for this show to be moved back to March. That she's made that gesture, and she knows that that's what should happen. But I'm also impressed. I think that it does mean that they have some kind of power in their future. It does actually mean that they have a little bit of authority over their projects, and it's not a case of that Netflix is just saying, "Well, tough, we've got our commercial pressures mean that we have to bring this out. We have to bring this out on January the 15th because we've trialed it and we've promoted it and it needs to go out on this day." So it does give me encouragement that they are in power of, although they have power over, their fate, and they're not beholden to, huge big telly executives, that have just said, paid them the money and said, tough, we're moving ahead. It's totally the right thing to do. It's totally the right thing to do. And I'm trying to think of any kind of royal events or royal family events where this happened. The only thing I can think of recently, the King and Queen were meant to go to France. There
Mm.
was lots of riots in France, and that was called off because there were talks with government in France and the UK and the royal household, and they decided that they would not force the King and Queen to go to France when there was riots in Paris and Bordeaux. And
Do
I'm
do we
glad.
do we know if there are any royal events coming up on March 4th, though? Do we have any idea if there are any royal events that could be that could conflict with Meghan's show coming out in March?
Do you know what? There might be. There's Commonwealth Day ceremony. I think that's about the 10th or the 13th. I think that's a couple of days later. But look, I said this earlier, and I'm sorry, but this TV show is not a royal story anymore.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
It's a showbiz story. It's a TV story. It's a celebrity story. If there's nothing in there that kind of impacts Britain and the royal family, if she's not on there criticizing the, rich values or Britain like she was in Netflix, or she's not in there dishing, if they're not in there dishing about William and Catherine or the King and the Queen and telling old stories, then it's not a royal story anymore. She's your problem. I probably wouldn't have even watched it, Kinsey. All right.
Yeah.
I would have just asked, and I probably will do in March. I'll get the TV correspondent here. They'll watch it. They'll watch all 8 episodes, and they'll say, "Oh, X, Y, and Z has happened. Harry appears in this episode." Bosh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's it. It's. I'm having to take a step back from them because they're no longer kind of in my orbit of
Fear.
reporting because it's just not it's not what royal correspondents should be writing about or talking about. A show with Meghan. We've been asking for years for them to go to California or be in California, enjoy their lives, have a wonderful time with their children, do something inoffensive. She's now basically an influencer in California, and it's just even if something happens on March the 4th, British, if there's some major royal event on March the 4th, it won't cause controversy. There may be the odd story, but I think generally people, the royal family and the royal household and British journalists probably won't care that much. Sorry.
No, no, don't apologize. From a showbiz perspective, I did have somebody that is on a very well I'm going to say well respected reality show out here in the Bravo space. They said to me they wondered if this was an opportunity for Meghan to, because it is a significant, this is over a month away. They
Yeah.
wondered if it was an opportunity for Meghan to go back and make edits after all the negative feedback she received from the trailer alone. And that negative feedback is now heightened now that thousands of people have completely lost their homes. How relatable is a woman frolicking around her green, lush garden when thousands of people have lost their homes just south of her?
Yeah, it's a difficult thing for Meghan and Team Netflix to negotiate. It really is. But look, as I keep saying it, her doing a cookery show in California, she's now in the sphere that she was before she joined the royal family, where she had the TIG website, lifestyle website, and she was a media influencer. That's
Wait,
where
so
she.
I do have a question for you. I hear what you're saying. So
Hmm.
is it unfair for people like me to still want to hold her to higher standards? Because I was critical of her when she launched her Instagram page hours after the New York terror attack. And then hours before the attack in Las Vegas. I felt like if you're going to use the Duchess name, you should you should read the room and understand that we're currently scared and grieving over this terror attack in New Orleans. Are you saying because you place her in this entertainment space and less of a royal, we should not hold her accountable, and we shouldn't hold her to maybe the similar standards or expectations? Because there's no way the men in gray suits would have allowed an Instagram launch hours after a terror attack.
No, they wouldn't. But now you hold it to the standards of other media influencers. You hold it to the standards of other celebrities in California. The men in grey suits have absolutely no role in her life. Yes, she's got the Duchess of Sussex title. That's because she's married to the Duke of Sussex and she's allowed to keep hold of it because she's married this chap. But if you want to hold her to standards and question her behavior or question release dates, then you compare it to other celebrities rather than compare it to William and Catherine now, I think, because she's no longer speaking about the royals. She's no longer delving into her time as a member of the royal family. I think that finally, after 5 years, whether she actually has moved on or not, whether this is just temporary, this show just really displays and projects this idea that she has moved on. And that's why I'm less and less willing to compare her to Catherine or to Sophie or to Queen Camilla. I will compare her to Gwyneth Paltrow or other people that are doing kind of similar lifestyle shows or lifestyle products.
I think one of the reasons there is some hostility, just to, sorry, to go back to their private tour of some of the devastation throughout the fire damage. It's strange to see them try to use their government contacts in their favor, even when it comes to Harry's litigation towards the UK government for security. I think they're not royals, like you said. They're no longer members of the royal
The
family
members of the royal
working.
family,
They're no
but
longer working
working
members of the royal
royals. Yeah.
family. They're not politicians. It's literally nepo. Harry is the ultimate nepo baby here. So why is he using Governor Gavin Newsom's name when threatening the NYPD over not making arrests in according to him, the arrests he wants made are in a timely manner? It feels like they're taking advantage of the perks of being a royal still. And I feel like that reminded us, and that was on display when it came to this tour of, if they were just there feeding people, but you felt like you were looking at people that were diplomats, people that were like William and Catherine, that are some sort of ambassador to everything's going to get better, hope, whatever. I do you have a reaction to that we in America kind of feel like they take advantage of these contacts that they only have because of the royal family?
Yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from. I'll go back to my original point. They're your problem now. All right. If honestly, they're not my problem anymore. If they're doing that and they're using their contacts in California, I mean, if you remember when they first moved out, it was during COVID time. They went straight for Gavin Newsom. They
Wait, I
arranged.
thought that they went straight to Justin Trudeau, and Justin Trudeau was like, "We'll figure it out."
When they were in Canada. Yeah.
Yeah,
When they moved to California, they set up a very early, I think it ended up being an online Zoom meeting with Gavin Newsom very early on because they
yeah.
wanted to, connect with local politicians. I think at the time people were thinking, oh, is this Meghan moving into politics? It's not. It's they were using their names and using their titles to gain influence, obviously, and speak to leaders. But look, I keep going back to, my original point. I mean, they're not using their titles or moaning about the royal family as much as they used to do. If they want to go to Pasadena and support local people, I mean, don't forget that in there, I feel like I'm being over supportive of them. I'm not. I'm just trying to pass the buck over to California and say, it's up to you to deal with this couple now. They've set their stall out that they're doing everything California. But if you think back to, I think they said the other day that they had opened the doors to their Montecito mansion to friends and family. From my understanding, is they do have friends and family that have been affected by these fires.
I know, but
So
I don't. I have friends that are staying here, but I didn't send a press release. Like I had so many
no,
people and dogs that I couldn't work. Yeah, people were like, "We need you to do a live hit," and I'm like, "Well, I got 6 people in my studio." So like, I don't. My thing is, why do they? That to me, that's another issue under the authenticity category. Just do it, and you don't have to announce it. And that is why certain people, when this weekend I wasn't in front of Fox 11 cameras, but I was bagging clothes, new tag clothing and diapers and dog food, and but I didn't post about it on social media. I think the irritation in the States is that they feel like they have to tell us how good they are, and it's a complete contrast of the behavior we've seen. So you're going to allow all these friends and I know you're so mad because you're like, well, they're your problem now, but you're going to allow all these friends and family members in your home, but Thomas Markle hasn't met his grandkids. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's really interesting what you're talking about there, Kinsey. I really do. I think it's that you are kind of at the stage where we were when they were in the UK. Okay, you are kind of at the stage where we start questioning, as you say, their motives and whether they're being disingenuous and their authenticity. We've been through that phase. Okay, we went through that phase. They left, and we're at like stage 5 now. You're like still back at stage 3, kind of understanding their behaviour and witnessing how they operate. And it's so nice to see it to see it happen and to see the reaction and see you talk like that. But I've been through that phase. I've seen
Yeah.
them operating, and we're a few stages down. So I look forward to experiencing it.
Yeah, well, thank you for not just
Your problem now, Kinsey.
exactly. Let's quickly just touch base on the Prince and Princess of Wales. I'd like to know what your thoughts are on the idea that the Princess of Wales is going to tone down her appearances in 2025. There are whispers that perhaps she could appear on the BAFTA red carpet. My instinct is that if that's true and she's toning back her appearances, will there be criticism if she shows up at this glamorous event dressed to the nines? There are 2 questions there. Will she be pulling back this year? And does she risk being criticized if the BAFTAs is one of those big events that she does attend?
Right, now this is a couple that I'm more than happy to talk about as long as you want. If I talk about for an hour about the Prince and Princess of Wales. So the Princess of Wales ended last year on a high. Okay, we
Mm-hmm.
had the Carol concert, and we had her appearing at Sandringham, and it was wonderful to see her. This year we will see more of the same. It'll be a gradual return to work. We will see her. Okay, she's not going to be disappearing. We will see her. We won't see her at BAFTAs. I mean, I will. I know there's a story over the weekend saying that they were trying to get her to go to the BAFTAs, and you've hit the nail on the head there. We've seen her at so many events where she has very much turned up, um, shone at certain events, and could be accused at BAFTAs of just turning up wearing a nice dress, wearing all the photographers. Maybe she actually needs to, get stuck in and do some work. I think that's what we'll start seeing. We'll see a gradual return to work, a gradual return to early years project, which we're told is going to be her kind of golden thread throughout the year. So look, we won't see her at BAFTAs. I think we'll be seeing her more actually visiting organizations, groups that she's connected to, talking with people connected to her early years project, but not at the same volume of work. So it's not like scaling back. It's just going to be not at the same volume of work as she did before she went to hospital, which was, wow, I think it's like almost exactly a year ago. Actually, I'm trying to think. I think it's the 15th or the 16th of January last year was when she actually went to hospital. We'll see her up and down the country In the UK, we'll see her and William going up and down the country, mainly about early years. We won't see her going abroad. We remember in Cape Town, William spoke about trips. He was saying, "Oh, me and Catherine will be going on some trips in the new year. It won't be abroad. There's nothing on the table for Catherine to go abroad right now. It will be UK based." As I say, gradual return to work, similar to the end of last year. But she won't be at BAFTA. But I think we'll be seeing more. You know, those kind of visits where she would make to a baby bank, or she would go to visit a charity, or she would go to a hospital and she'd talk about early years. I think we'll see more of those and less, less kind of red carpet walking. But we will see her supporting the family at major events. So, Buckingham Palace, garden parties, trooping the colour, all that kind of pomp and pageantry. She will be there, but she will be highly focused on early years, early years, early years, and a gradual return to work, not so much of the volume of work that happened before she was in.
We have there's a mutual acquaintance on our radar, Robert Jobson. I just saw him talking about William and Catherine and the future of the monarchy. And he said to save the future of the monarchy, he felt like a lot of the pomp had to go. They were even joking about how Prince William's beard wouldn't have cut it years ago. Do you agree with that? Because as a foreigner, that is why I'm obsessed with the royal family, the pomp, the costume, the choreography. To me, the states that we just stop. I mean, it's at the crack of dawn. So we've got luggage, the Louis Vuittons under our eyeballs when we flip on the TV and watch some of these events like trooping or a royal wedding, whatever it is. But I feel like that is one of the things that keeps them relevant. I mean, I know some of it's kind of ancient, but that is what keeps them relevant to me.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, talk about William perhaps being a more modern royal. We spoke the other day about royalty with a small r. We're still not quite sure what that means. But yeah, it'd be real sad to lose the pomp and pageantry. I mean, you think the royal family, what its current existence, we're talking about almost 1,000 years. Many of these things have been going on. The fact that you've had coronations, etc., etc., have been going on for centuries. So I think William would like to move in a more modern direction. I think we've seen this recently with that tweet that he sent about Catherine. I mean, we'd never normally get that kind of emotion being shown by a future king about his wife when he said, "I'm very proud of you and I love you." He posted it on the birthday. I think that when he does become king eventually, in the future, he will want to modernize certain events. But I think there will be putting out the men in grey suits. They will be saying to him, the reason the royal family has existed for so long, the reason it has this longevity is because we carry on the traditions. And it's not just you say you're watching it on telly, you're waking up in the morning and enjoying trooping. It's about the wider community that comes with an event like trooping or an event like the coronation. It get together these people that we don't really kind of know the names of, but they're real movers and shakers within the kind of UK government, diplomacy, behind the scenes, all the departments, they all come together. It's sort of a day out for them to kind of sit around, make contacts and chat. Why does the king go to Royal Ascot? He doesn't just go to watch the horses. It's because there are movers and shakers there. That's why a lot of these big events are held. And I think if there is a move to modernise, I cannot see the pomp and ceremony being removed, even if there were ideas from William. I mean, look, actually, think about it. Charles actually reduced the length of his coronation. I think Queen Elizabeth II was like 4 or 5 hours long. His was only 2. And I'm disappointed about that. I think that the coronation should go on for hours and hours. I'm with you.
I don't know. We were in the
Love it.
rain. We were in the rain. I don't know. Maybe
How
if
are
they would
you?
have moved
Oh,
it
I
to
was
a different.
inside. I was inside in the warm. It was lovely.
Of
I think it just
course
makes
you
it go
were.
on. It go on for ages. But no, I mean, I don't. I think, look, yeah, it'd be a real sad thing to see. But William will modernise it, as I say. William and Charles are modernising what is essentially very Edwardian and Victorian institutions.
I remember, to your point, not necessarily the movers and shakers, but about it becoming a community event. When the Queen died, I was leaving Buckingham Palace, and they were about to do. The Queen's body was passing, or something was happening, and I stepped out of a busy area, and I remember watching hundreds of people walking in the same direction, and they were all going to honor the Queen. I've never seen anything like that in my entire life. I remember like crying because it was just so compelling to see hundreds of people walking in the same direction, all with the same mission, all to honor this person. And I think that that's another thing that I admire about the monarchy in your country is you having this symbol that no matter what your politics are, I know not everybody agrees with the royal family, but a lot of people do. No matter what your politics are, you have this patriotic symbol that everybody can rally around and believe in and admire. To me, that's really beautiful. And our country's so polarizing politically that we don't have that. Some people are offended by the American flag in your yard. It's you. I just think that's so special that you have that.
Thank you. That's really good. But no, I completely agree with you. I have these arguments with friends quite a lot where they talk about, obviously you're a republic. We have a monarchy, but also we have a prime minister. I often think that when you have a president, that president has a power of personality and he tries to shape the country, he tries to shape the country's history to his personality. And these, presidents or leaders come and go every 4 years and are just kind of almost in it for themselves and their own legacy. The monarch, whoever it is, whether it's the king or the late queen, they don't need money. They don't need contacts. They're not in it for their own fame. They're not in it for their own legacy. They have it anyway. Okay, they don't need to almost be corrupt, or they don't need to cozy up to other world leaders, or they don't need to change laws, or get things named after them. They're almost like benevolent leaders. And so the stuff that they actually do as a result is stuff that they do for the benefit of the country, not the benefit of themselves. And that's one of the aspects that I like about having a king or a queen.
I will let you go after this question, but I did want to ask you about Prince William's sweet message to Tiggy about the death of her stepson. You once broke this really amazing story about it was a man that owned a pizza shop. He passed away, and his wife received a personal message from Prince William. I imagine that Tiggy has heard from both Prince William and Prince Harry when it comes to the death of her stepson. Do you have any additional details? And knowing what you know about Prince William, do you think he was personally really affected by this story? Because that's what I read in that message that he released. I felt like he was heartbroken for, a former companion. Tiggy was very close to them.
Yeah, I think Tiggy was very close to both William and Harry. I think even in Spare, I don't want to put it onto Harry, but even in Spare, I think Harry's spoken more about Tiggy maybe than William has in the past. I think in Spare he said
Yeah,
that.
remember he says that Tiggy reprimanded him for the Oprah Winfrey interview in Spare.
Did he say that in Spare?
Yeah, he did. Hold on, I
Because
have the
I've been
actual.
told that as well. I've been told that as well, I've been
How
told
could
that
you reveal
separately.
such things about your family? She
Yeah.
chastised him and said, "How can you reveal such things about your family?" That's what Harry said.
Oh, okay, interesting. But no, Harry's obviously always said that that Tiggy is a friend and his favourite nanny, and I think William's absolutely exactly the same. They were so close to Tiggy, so close that some other members of the family got worried about how close Tiggy was to Harry and William. I'm not entirely sure how well they knew Ed Pettifer. I think they would have hung around together. I don't think that Ed was an extremely very close to the pair of them, but I think their thoughts were definitely with Tiggy. And I 100% guarantee that both of them would have messaged Tiggy and spoken to her and sent their regards. They wouldn't, like, for instance, William wouldn't have put that message out if he hadn't spoke to her first. He
Yeah.
would have told her, I'm putting this public message out after he's spoken to Tiggy and expressed his. He could have even gone there for all I know. I'm just trying to think back to the dates of when it happened. I'm pretty sure they were up in Norfolk, but I would have, yeah, 100%. They were so close. Tiggy is such an important person to William and Harry's upbringing. She was their favourite nanny. She was all over the press here when they were children. She was a very well-known figure, and they both speak incredibly warmly of her. And I think they would have been heartbroken for her turmoil. Definitely, and they would have definitely reached out to her.
Yeah, I remember that Diana was incredibly jealous of her. And ironically, that is who kind of enveloped them when she passed away. Like, thank God she was there when Diana passed away because it's my understanding that she gave them some sense of normalcy and joy and happiness after the death of Diana. Matt, when can people, are there regular drops of your YouTube program, The Sun's Royal Exclusive?
Yeah, well, every Thursday, so into I think Friday evening UK time is normally when we drop it. This week we had planned something special on Meghan's show, but obviously now it's been delayed. We're trying to reconfigure it, but I think yeah, this week should be pretty decent. We try to find voices that aren't. I was trying to find voices that speak rarely, new voices. Last week we had someone who'd written a book about the Prince of Wales and Wales, very niche, but it was about how Charles had got on in the tiny area of Wales while he had the Prince of Wales title. This week we may have something quite, I think it should be good, and it will be food related, royal food related, which I love food and I love royals, so I'm sure it'll work well.
I love that. Well, I look forward to seeing that. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Agree with us, disagree with us, let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Thanks so much for watching.